It's a sad day at the Carnival Cruise Line as Carnival Ecstasy prepares to take on board cruise passengers for her very last time. In attendance, none other than the venerable John Heald. Norwegian's newest ship, the Prima, has officially begun cruises out of the United States, and she begins a barnstorming season, calling many popular cruise ports home, if only for a short while. And it's Panama Canal season as the Carnival Spirit officially kicks off the return of the canal cruises for the 2023 season. Plus, Bermuda's Health Minister Kim Wilson is proving that her brain may have gotten lost in Bermuda's rumored triangle. Let's roll the intro. Hey, welcome to the Midships channel. I'm your Captain Corey, and thank you so much for stopping by the channel today. If you can't already tell, the cruise news is positively overflowing. We need to start out with a little bit of housekeeping though, for all of you coming with me on my group cruise on board Carnival Sunshine. It's in 2 weeks, and you need to know that check-in is officially open now for our cruise on Carnival's website. So get over there and snag yourself an early boarding time. And for those of you who didn't know, there is a secret to snagging the very first boarding group on Carnival. And you don't have to be Diamond or Platinum or purchase faster the fun. No, all you have to do is check in precisely at midnight 2 weeks before your cruise, and you're almost guaranteed the first check-in slot. As a matter of fact, you're almost guaranteed to be in the very first boarding group, along with Carnival's most loyal cruisers. So very cool, a great top tip for anyone cruising Carnival. Thank you so much to Derek over at the Island Time channel for sharing that tip and trick with me. You should check him out. He does daily cruise news as well. Now let's get into the big story of the day. The Carnival Ecstasy is loaded with guests right now, preparing to depart from Mobile, Alabama on her final cruise ever to Mexico. Now this is going to be a bittersweet one because the future of the Ecstasy remains uncertain. A ship that spent 31 years cruising with Carnival may well be joining her sister ships of the Fantasy Fleet in the scrapyard here in the next few months, being beached and unceremoniously pulled apart. A quick side note here, if it makes you sad that Carnival is scrapping all these fantasy class ships, go ahead and let me know about it by tapping that thumbs up button under the video so I can see just how many of you hate the idea of losing the fantasy class fleet. So the Carnival Ecstasy was built way back in 1991, and it's one of the few remaining fantasy class vessels in Carnival's fleet. And following this week's sailing this Saturday when Ecstasy returns home for the last time ever, there's only going to be 2 out of the original 8 fantasy class ships left in the fleet. So if you're looking to tick off the box of saying, yeah, I've been on board a fantasy class ship, there's only 2 left. And they probably each have a year or 2 left in service before we see them going away. It's just what's going on. And I, for one, am extremely sad to see Carnival getting rid of the fantasy class. Not to mention, the class has been really good at offering cruises from smaller secondary type markets, places that larger ships can't necessarily fit, but there's still a really good appetite for cruising, and there's a bunch of people living within 3 to 6 hours drive around the port. That's a perfect use case for this class of ship. Now, the Ecstasy is not without its drawbacks, just like every other ship in the fantasy class. There's a lack of onboard amenities like you'd find on larger, newer ships like the Mardi Gras. However, the Mardi Gras is over twice the size of all the fantasy class ships. Weighing in at 181,000 tons, that is over twice the size of the 70,000 ton weight class of the fantasy class of ships. So you see there's a huge disparity in size, plus not to mention the newer Excel class of ships for Carnival is capable of carrying over 5,000 passengers at once, whereas a ship like the Ecstasy can barely take 2,000. And with the departure of the Ecstasy, it will leave Carnival Cruise Line with just 23 ships in their fleet. However, here at the end of next month, that number will again climb to 24 as the Carnival Celebration joins the party down in Miami next month. So what do you think about Carnival doing away with these smaller, older ships in the fantasy class? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Am I on the money by saying these smaller, older ships provide a unique glimpse into what cruising was like yesterday, maybe back in the 80s or 90s? And I, for one, really enjoy them. And speaking of things I really enjoy, why don't you check out some things that I enjoy in my Amazon Midships cruise store? It's a one-stop shop to gear up for your next cruise with all the essentials and some amazing cruise swag clothing like this Ahoy pineapple shirt. There's a link in the description below. Now, you all know the story of the Bermuda Triangle, a mysterious place where ships and planes just disappear and are never heard from again. Well, Bermuda's health minister, Kim Wilson, seems to have had her brain suffer from this very problem, a disappearing brain, never to be seen again, because she says that the mask requirements and travel regulations surrounding COVID-19, yeah, they're going to be dropped this month by Bermuda. However, as she does something that seems logical and aligns with the rest of the world, she went on to say that Bermuda is going to still require cruise ship visitors submit and pay a $40 travel authorization for the joy and luxury of visiting Bermuda. Okay, she didn't say that last part, but what she did say was that in Bermuda, travel authorizations have served as an effective part of their COVID border control measures, and that the government plans to have further discussions about what's appropriate to maintain ongoing safety during the pandemic. End quote. Holy cow, the Bermuda Triangle sounds like a pretty serious place. I think we can now officially confirm it's real and it's snatching brains straight out from its government officials' heads. Well, it's mid-October again, and that means the Panama Canal cruise season is officially reopening for 2022 into 2023. And to kick things off this season, Carnival Spirit has become the first cruise ship this year to pass through the Panama Canal. And the Spirit is just one of over 200 cruise ships that authorities expect to cross from Atlantic to Pacific or Pacific to Atlantic between now and the middle of next year. And this is pretty cool because a Panama Canal cruise is definitely a bucket list cruise for many cruisers, ranking up there with the likes of a transatlantic or Alaska cruise. Did you know the largest cruise ship to ever transit the Panama Canal was the 169,000 gross ton Norwegian Encore? Well, that leads us nicely into our next story about the brand new Norwegian cruise ship, the Prima. She just finished her very first sailing here in the US, cruising out of New York City October 6th and returning this morning on the 10th. And it looks like Norwegian plans to ping pong the Prima through many different home ports here in the United States. It's almost like they want to show off this beautiful new class of ships to as many eyeballs as they possibly can, as Prima is slated to home port in New York, Galveston, Miami, and Port Canaveral, all between now and March of next year. That's pretty fast. The Prima is the first of 6 ships in the new Prima class being put out by NCL, and it's already been called one of the most luxurious cruise ships in its class, offering the highest staff and space ratios of any premium cruise ship. Okay, high-end cruisers, you might want to pay closer attention now because we're going to talk about Celebrity and Azamara cruise lines for just a second. First up, Celebrity Cruise Line, who claims they're going to deploy 9 ships to the Caribbean for the winter 2022 season. All told, there will be 3 Edge-class ships and 4 Solstice-class ships sailing down in the Caribbean over the next several months. And fun fact, I'll be cruising on one of those Edge-class ships, the brand new Celebrity Beyond, in just about a month from now. I can't wait to take you on board, show you everything that Celebrity has been working on board their newest ship. Well, it's a special day for luxury cruise brand Azamara, as for the very first time, the entire Azamara fleet of 4 vessels met up in one port of call at the very same time. It all went down October 8th in the port of Koper in Slovenia. And to mark the occasion, there was even a local parade put on in the municipality of Koper. Some very cool pictures coming out from the event. I don't know what it is about cruise ships. There's just something about them. It brings out an excitement for travel, exploration, adventure, and maybe even romance. But even someone who's never been on one seems to find them just alluring. No, that's not a Royal Caribbean joke, but I guess it could be. So if you made it this far into today's episode, thank you so very much for stopping by the channel today. If you want more cruise news and entertainment just like this, be sure you get subscribed to the channel with the bell notification and the thumbs up button pressed. And until tomorrow, we'll see ya on the Midships. Oh, it's been a crazy day. I just was down in the hot tub enjoying a little relaxation and warming time while I worked on the cruise news. Man, this Carnival Ecstasy thing, I was supposed to be cruising on the Ecstasy. I had an initial reservation. Apparently, I forgot to put my deposit on. And when I went back to rebook, it was sold out. And then it came back as available once again. But it was like $1,300 for an interior cabin. And I'm sorry, but that's my budget for like 2 to 3 cruises here. So I just couldn't justify getting on board the Ecstasy. But fortunately, there are a few other YouTube cruise personalities on board, specifically Pero DJ. I ran into D&J in Costa Maya a few weeks back, and they let me know they were going to be on the last sailing ever of the Ecstasy. So make sure you're subscribed to their channel so you don't miss all the cool content that I think D&J are going to drum up from on board the Ecstasy. Hey, thanks so much. And if you're going on my group cruise, do be sure you are checked in. Make sure you have your hotel reserved, your reservations reserved, as they say. And we'll see you all tomorrow here on YouTube. La 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 la.